Hello, sir. Louis, sir.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you.
Yes. Yes, madam. Okay.
Okay. Hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Today, we are presenting webinar on strengthening your adversity quotient, organized by Applied Science and Humanities Department of Parul Polytechnic Institute, Parul University. The main agenda of this webinar is to adapt starts with taking accountability of a situation for the necessary and needed changes. An adversity quotient is a score that measures the ability of a person to deal with adversities in his or her life. I, Vaishali Nathwani, would like to introduce today's presenter, Louis Banpans. He has 27 years of combined work experience in training, education and development, human resources and organizational development. He has trained employees from all functional level groups and from 250 companies in over 22 industries. He was board member of the Philippine Society of Training and Development and was an advanced communicator leader in the top Toastmaster Club Makati. He is a certified facilitator of strengths development inventory. It's a privilege to welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I know it's still good morning in India. Strengthening your adversity
Yes.
quotient is our agenda. This in the next 1 hour, I'll be delivering the content in less than an hour so we can have time for questions. I know that our faculty members are joining us through Google Meet, and our students are now joining us through Facebook Live. Okay? Thank you for that introduction. And I'm also going to say something more about our company. And assisting me is Oliver, who's also controlling my slides. Let's move on to the next slide, Oli. Just a quick reminder. And we have really been tested in terms of dealing with a lot of challenges in the past 5 months. One such challenge would be your connection and reception issue in this webinar. Our patience, please, is needed. If we get disconnected, just please do reconnect. Feel free to take screenshots or photos of the slides as we present it. And for those who have a second gadget or who have a second browser, if you can open a second browser, we prepared some questions for you so that we can answer them in menti.com. You will need to go to menti.com in your second gadget or in your second tab in your browser and use the code 8966996 so you can answer our questions. We have been introduced as LJMB. We are based in the Philippines. And once again, my name, just to show you my name, it is Louis Banta. And I've been in the field of learning and development for close to 3 decades. Also had the chance to train organizations in 9 countries across 4 continents and regions, and that included India. In 2013, I had the chance to train in Chennai, India. Okay? And let's show that slide, Oli, our global training footprint. And our story of transformation, adversity quotient, and resiliency during this time was tested because I lead a team of around 20 people in the Philippines, and we provide training workshops or seminars to different companies. But because of the lockdown, just as what you've experienced, I've heard March 25, all of our trainings and workshops, just like school, it has to stop. Company training would have to stop. So we were left with zero bookings. That meant zero revenue for my company as I was looking at March, April, and May. So I did something that I did not do in my 27 years of public speaking, and that is to provide webinars. Imagine, one thing that we can thank this COVID crisis about is it has really pushed us to transform, to also go out of our comfort zones. On March 27, I was asking, how can I continue my training if we are on a lockdown? And we implemented our first webinar on April 1. Just 4 days. In 4 days' time, we fixed everything that we needed, and we launched these courses that you can see on the screen. So I'm not just here to talk about adversity quotient and resiliency. I'm also here to share with you our story of how we initially got beaten by COVID and how we transformed and showed our adversity quotient. Not just that, in the Philippines, we have the record of the most number of webinars and virtual classes conducted in the last 4 months. Because we started April 1, we did not look back, we continued. We were even averaging 4 webinars per day. We reached out to hundreds of organizations and thousands of participants. Even launching our digital learning services from zero to now all available. Also our platform, blended learning platform, I told my team, we need this in May, from nothing to something that our client companies are now using. So that introduction is not just about us, it's about our story of transformation in the past 4 months. For other topics of our other webinars, we uploaded them in our YouTube channel. So please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. There are currently 94 other courses that you can watch in YouTube. Let's now talk about how do we strengthen our adversity quotient. Okay? And we will start with the Mentimeter survey. This is where you need your phone or tablet, or you can open another browser and go to menti.com. Use the code 8966996 and just type in that word or that phrase which describes how you have been feeling in the past 5 months during this pandemic. Let's wait for a few responses. It may take a while. Going to menti.com. Now we're seeing the first response. I'd like you to be very honest. What's in your heart? How have you been feeling? Lockdown in India happened March 25. It's been 5 months. The Philippines was just 1 or 2 weeks ahead. It's been 5 months. Who else has a response? What we can do is, for those who do not have access in menti.com, but if you have access in Google Meet, you can also type in your responses in the chat room of Google Meet. So we can have options for you to participate. How have you been feeling? I only got one word here. Waiting for the others to also answer this question in menti.com. Or waiting for some answers in the chat room. Okay, we now have 3 answers. I got worried. Okay. The fear is there. Okay. Not well, but we're working from home. At least it's keeping us safe. Okay. And if the others are unable to answer in menti.com, you can again chat with me here, or you can just verbalize it there from the comfort of your homes. In other groups, as I ask this question, I would get anxious. I would get feeling really tired because there's so many things happening around us. I'm sure that this answer is frustrated. Yes, we are frustrated because it's been quite a while. There seems to be no improvement. I have heard that the cases in India would rise by thousands per day. And don't worry because it's the same here in the Philippines. Okay? So I got the following words. I will not wait for everybody to provide an answer here. Yes, it's important to acknowledge these feelings, but we need to do something about these feelings, especially at the end of our quick webinar today. Level up your AQ or adversity quotient. You've heard of other Qs like IQ and EQ. I'm not talking about IQ or EQ in the next slide. I'm talking about something different. IQ is mental ability, EQ is the ability to regulate our emotions. So on top of IQ and EQ, which are equally important, there's another Q that I'd like to introduce, and that is adversity quotient. Our ability to deal with adversities in life. That's a simple definition of AQ. Okay? And this is not a new concept. It has been with us for quite a while. In 1997, there's a book that Paul Stoltz wrote, Adversity Quotient at Work. Okay? And here we talk about the ability, which is innate in each one of us, to be able to deal with challenges, trials, obstacles, problems, crisis, however you want to put it. And we are all tested with problems and crises that would happen in each of these areas in life. We have hundreds of students who might be joining us now in Facebook Live. Isn't it that studying is challenging in itself? Passing exams, and of course, not just getting good grades, but really getting the learning. For our faculty members, yes, the workload demands, especially right now, compounded with this COVID crisis. Add to that our family responsibilities and our problems with finances, problems with health. We've been used to adversities before, even pre-COVID times. If I may talk about disasters, I apologize if I would want you to remember some recent disasters in the history of Gujarat, showing you the 2001 earthquake, where I think it's 7.7 and really killed thousands of people. The 2015 cyclone, this one is more recent, yes, that flooded a lot of areas. Why am I showing this? My point, my dear faculty members and students of Parul University, is that we are used to adversities and problems. However, COVID is really an entirely different thing. Communities rebuild. Yes, people move on, but COVID, it's been with us for 5 months as compared to an earthquake, as compared to a cyclone which will hit us only for a few hours or few days. COVID is different because it had 3 effects on us, the DUA effects, as I may call it: disruption, uncertainty, and anxiety. We have been disrupted. Our routines all of a sudden were disrupted. We have been asked to stay home, to work from home. We did not know how to. Internet connection is a challenge. We got disrupted. Uncertainty, there are lots of questions in our heads. What questions are top of mind? What do we do? When will this end? Until when will COVID be? What else? What is the short-term solution to this one? And you all know that until the vaccine or a cure has been distributed, not just invented, it has to be distributed, we can't go back to the old normal. It's really a new normal that we have to get accustomed nowadays. Now, the uncertainty is not having answers to your questions. If you add fear to uncertainty, then what you have is anxiety. You worry. You can't sleep at night. Initially, just like me, because of my business getting hit by COVID, zero revenue or zero sales, I was anxious. I had sleepless nights. I was worried. How will I sustain my people in the long run? Okay? So DUA, disruption, uncertainty, and anxiety. Let me ask you a question in the next Mentimeter. Go to menti.com. Same code that we're using, 8966996. And if you can just rank order the following effects, which one really hit you hard? Please rank order them first, second, and third. First means the effect that really hit you hardest, and then rank order it. Let's wait for a few responses. Who else would like to respond to this? Those who have access on menti.com. Waiting for a few responses. Okay, still disruption. There are now 2 votes here. Still disruption. I'm sure that the others would, let's say, go for uncertainty and anxiety. Okay, now they're moving. Okay. I'll wait for about 2 more. Maybe it's difficult to connect with menti.com for the others. So I will look at this graph and see that, yes, people really felt the disruption. We were taken, uprooted from our normal routines, and it's causing us anxiety, the uncertainty coupled by fear. Okay? And what we need to really address would be human beings' tendency to be afraid of adversity, fear of adversity, which you can see on the next slide. And if we can avoid adversity, go ahead. But the problem is that this COVID crisis is something that we cannot escape from. You know, if it's a volcanic eruption, which when we have a lot here in the Philippines, it's very easy to just move away and escape. But COVID being around us, it's really important to strengthen our AQ. And at the heart of AQ is resiliency, the ability to be able to bounce back and meet the challenges that are in front of us. Bouncing back is the key, because it means we got hit hard, we got challenged with problems. The challenges can be a lot. How are we going to continue the education of students? How are we now going to teach if we're going online? Not everybody's prepared for this. Add to that the infrastructure, the technology. Not everybody has access to the internet. I did my research, and I believe only 40% of the households in India would have internet. So I'm just trying to acknowledge that. But as we speak of AQ and resiliency in our remaining time, it's us thinking of solutions so we can really meet challenges and come back stronger, wiser, more informed, and somehow kinder. Our emotions would also need to improve as we become more compassionate, seeing that the problem is affecting a lot of people. The ABCs of AQ are also absorbing the impact of adversity. You know, it's like an athlete or a boxer who gets hit by a left hook or a jab, but he is able to take that pain. How well are you in absorbing the impact of adversity? Because you will use that pain to bounce back better and start with conquering your fears. The ABCs of AQ. Okay? Now, for us to have high AQ, and at the heart of AQ is resiliency, we need 3 crucial characteristics. And just like the 3 that you can see on the screen, will you bend and adapt Or will you break because you are resisting? You have been complaining, you are not taking action, and then all of a sudden you have lots of worries. Let's show the 3 characteristics of resilient people. Remember, resiliency is at the heart of AQ. Number 1, quickly facing and accepting reality. Let's zero in on this one. Quickly facing and accepting reality instead of being blindly optimistic. There is a problem with optimism or positivity. And I don't want to get into the semantics here. I'm using the word blind optimism or toxic positivity. What's an example of toxic positivity? There are 2 people. They went out of the house. They're going somewhere. They looked ahead. Person A said, there's rain clouds. It's about to rain. Let's prepare. Let's bring an umbrella or let's bring our rain gear. Person 2 said, why are you thinking negatively? It hasn't happened yet. It will not rain. Just use your positive thinking. That for me, my dear faculty members and students, is blind optimism or toxic positivity. And that is simply being positive, which is not based on facts and figures, not based on science, not based on your observations, not based on what you see in reality. If you want to strengthen your AQ and your resiliency, you will really have to look around you and have that quick acceptance of reality. Just being positive here will not do any good because there is a limit to being positive. It may distort your sense of reality, may lead you to deny and ignore problems, and may even delay necessary action. This COVID scenario is a very good example of how a lot of countries, and I'll speak of the Philippines, we could have acted earlier if we quickly faced and accepted the reality that it may come here in the Philippines. We could have closed borders, we could have controlled air travel, who's coming in here, just like how Vietnam or other countries did it, like Taiwan, yes, learning lessons from them. But we did not, and we're suffering the consequences of that. Anyway, not to blame anybody, but just to really learn that this lesson is important. Facing and accepting the reality instead of being blindly optimistic. Why do I have those 3 companies there, Kodak, Nokia, and Friendster? It's because they're all famous companies, all leaders in their industries. But what was the cause of the downfall of each one? They did not face and accept the reality that's around them. They did not adapt because they did not accept these realities. Kodak did not see digital. Nokia did not adapt to touchscreen. Friendster, Facebook, yes, came along. First way to strengthen our adversity quotient is to be able to see the adversity in front of us. Face and accept the reality. Let's go to characteristic number 2. Characteristic 2 is making meaning of hardship. Okay? You know, accepting reality is one. You accept reality but you complain, that's not good as well. The second characteristic of high AQ or resilient people is they try to make their own meaning of the crisis around them. Here are some questions. There's crisis around us. It's not going away anytime soon. What is the meaning of all of this to me? What is the purpose of this COVID-19 crisis? What is the key message or lesson here? And I like it that I'm talking to educators and students. If we are to be a student of life, let's say COVID is the teacher. Say COVID is the professor. What is COVID teaching us? What is the biggest lesson that we should learn out of this? Because when you have that lesson, you will feel better, you will feel less overwhelmed. You can act on that lesson. Show the possible lessons in the next slide, Oliver. What are these possible lessons in the next slide? Those are the lessons. You could just look at that and choose what is relevant for you. Is it the need to save more money? Or we could have acted faster with our digital initiatives. You know, a lot of companies and businesses, they were caught unaware, were caught off guard. They have their digital initiatives or projects, but it wasn't rolling. So those who are surviving during this time are the ones who have made the initial leap to technology and digital. So maybe the lesson for you is being able to spend more quality time with family, or the lesson for you is learning new skills, yes, or getting more rest and reflection. And the lesson can be different from one person to another. The lesson to me as a business owner is I could have innovated without this pressure of COVID. So I'm saying that in the next 5 years, I will be on the lookout for new technology so that I can always adapt early. Let me go to characteristic number 3. Improvising solutions. That's creativity, that's innovation, or just being a good problem solver. My dear teachers, educators, what is the problem that you have in this COVID crisis? Is it the difficulty of shifting to online learning? Or you've used online learning before but not so much? Now you would need to come up with creative techniques in engaging your students using this, because this is the dominant, if not the only means of communication until next year, based on predictions. What else can you do? For our students who are listening to us in this webinar, what is your concern? Your concern is what? A difficulty of adjusting to learning in this online mode. And yes, I know that resources are needed. Okay? But focusing on what else can you do with what you have. Here is the focus on options, asking for options, exploring for options. And I'll tell you a story. Somebody reached out to me here in the Philippines. Somebody reached out. It's a relative of a friend who just reached out to me and asked if I have extra laptops in the office. And it so happened that I have an old laptop, still usable, spare. And I understand the need. I gave it. And just this morning, it was start of classes today, Monday. Take a look. I was given, this person sent me a Facebook Messenger of the laptop being used. Take a look at that. Sometimes all we have to do is ask and collaborate and ask for help from others. Yes? Not, instead of complaining, what else can I do? We will work with what we have. That's the next slide. Work with what we have. Okay? Let's not complain about what we do not have. Let's focus and maximize what we have. And you know, in these webinars and virtual classes, a lot of people say it's very difficult to learn because I can't see the teacher. The teachers are saying it's very difficult to teach because I can't see the students. I've gone through this more than 140 times. Remember, 140 webinars and virtual classes. But you just have to focus on what you have. Okay? Improvise solutions. Think of solutions. And with this, I think of a character in a TV show, MacGyver. And I'm not sure which of the MacGyvers here do you know. MacGyver on the upper left is the one in the 80s, 1980s, and I would watch MacGyver. Back then, I was still in high school. there's a new version, MacGyver. Only I will no longer go through the Mentimeter, so if you can just skip that. And what's fascinating about MacGyver is that he's so good in improvising solutions. He used a paperclip in one episode so that he can save himself and another person in a life-threatening situation. I think they were caught by the bad guys. They were about to die, and he used a paperclip. I'd like to use this as a symbolism. Our educators, our faculty members definitely use paper clips, no, in clipping papers, test papers, documents, and the like. We take it for granted, yes. We look at something and say, this has a very simple use, but it can actually have another use in a tight situation. Symbolically, I'd like to ask you, what is your paper clip? What is something that you take for granted? Something that you have in you, a talent and ability, or your paper can be your network, your friends around you, family and social support. Yes. What is that paperclip that you would need to tap? If you feel lonely, if you feel anxious and depressed, maybe your paperclip is your network of friends and family whom you can talk to. If you are after how do I make this online teaching and online learning work, your paperclip can be exploring options, yes, on how you can teach better and how you can also learn better as a student. So in the next slides, I'd like to share with you our own adversity. You know, COVID hit us hard. It may have hit us differently. You're a university. I am an owner of a training business with 20 people. So I faced zero sales during this lockdown. But take a look at our timeline. January 23, I said earlier, anticipate and embrace, accept the reality. I was supposed to go to Sri Lanka and Hong Kong to run workshops in February. But as early as January 23, practicing what I am teaching of accepting reality early on, I withdrew from these workshops politely because I know if I go, there's a high risk of exposure if I travel and, stay in airports. And yes, 2 months later, we faced the lockdown. Here in the Philippines, the lockdown was March 16. So it was crazy, crazy, crazy. I don't know where I will get the salaries of my employees. We have some savings that can last for several months, but if this goes extended, I don't know what to do. My AQ was also tested heavily during this crisis. Then, improvising solutions, you can see that was March 27. That was a Facebook post. I surveyed my friends in Facebook. I said, who among you will attend a free webinar? I gave 3 topics, and take a look at the number of people who liked it and the number of people who commented that they will attend. So I did not know how to do webinars like this. I have not heard of Google Meet. I don't know Zoom. I don't know MS Teams. I've always delivered seminars with people just in front of me, within my reach. I am doing something for the first time that I did not know. That's improvising solutions. And that's expanding my learning here. And what you can see on the next slides is that when I did this and never stopped doing webinars, I would do 4 webinars, 5 webinars per day, just to introduce to my clients that yes, we can do webinars. And the results were fantastic. Take a look at that. When we started to offer free webinars, later on in April, we generated some revenue. This August, we have about 30 workshops paid. Imagine if I did not jump to webinars, if I did not improvise a solution. We even launch different products, virtual team building, virtual planning, and virtual training. My dear educators and my dear students, until 2021, this will be the only means of communication that we have. In India, 70,000 cases per day. Our contribution is to stay at home and to make all of this work. I saw this in social media, eh? And we have, of course, a teacher here who, look at her resources. Just look at that. A hanger, few pieces of string, and a cell phone. The hanger is even upside down. To one person who is not willing to be stopped, who is willing to give it her all, a hanger and a few pieces of string are enough. To somebody who has a lot of excuses, you give that person a lot of resources, it will not be enough. Improvise solutions. Look at this improvisation of solutions. 3 characteristics of resilient people. If you want to have high AQ, adversity quotient, look ahead. Do you see dark clouds? Do you see crisis happening? Read the signals, listen to science, listen to the numbers, listen to data, and accept the reality. Wow, it's going to rain. There's going to be a crisis. It's going to be online. It's going to be virtual. Embrace it. Do not resist it. Make meaning of hardship. As you embrace it, have positive meanings of this crisis. And number 3 is solve whatever problems you have. You have financial issues. You have internet issues. Find solutions. Tap people whom you know. Ask for help. Okay? And you know, because there's social media now and you are in social media, you ask for help in social media, it will come with the so many people who can view it. Now, let's end with that topic on making meaning of hardship. Because AQ, only if you can just skip the next menti.com, AQ, I'm trying to skip all the menti.com, maybe not too many have access to that. AQ is about mindset. If you have the right mindset, it will affect your heart set or feelings, and it will show in your skill set. Okay? I would like to end so that you can strengthen your AQ with the 7 frames or 7 ways to frame this crisis around us. 7 ways to frame the crisis. Okay? These 7 ways to frame are also part of our self-talk. What we tell ourselves during this crisis, whenever we wake up in the morning and before we retire at night, affects our attitude or disposition for the day. You know, frames, we use them for photos, for paintings, we use them for certificates, right? The beauty of the frame adds or diminishes the value of what you are framing. I'd like to share with you 7 ways to frame the crisis. And let's start with the first one. This is spiritual, God-given test. Now, depends on the gods that we worship. Yes, you pray to your own God, you worship your gods. It could just be a God-given test. The first frame of mind could be, God will not give us trials I cannot handle. And if it is a test, or your educators and students, if you're given a test, what is the objective? The objective is to pass the test with flying colors. My dear educators and students, will you pass this COVID test with flying colors? Let's go to frame number 2. Frame number 2 is about learning. Again, because you're educators and students, instead of getting stressed, I reduce my feeling of getting stressed by asking myself, okay, it already happened. Nothing I can do about it. Yes, A lot of things are outside my control. What the government is doing is outside my control. What can I learn from this crisis? And what is the next step that I can be working on? I learned that it's important to really save. I learned that it's important to really worry about your safety and therefore follow the protocols, safety protocols, stay at home. And if I will go out, I have to follow protocols. I learned that relationships are important nowadays. So I talk to my team on a daily basis. We meet every day. We collaborate every day. Number 3 is game. So some of you who are competitive, some of you who like sports, you can relate to this frame. Think of this COVID times as a big game where you need to win. You need to be the last person who will reach the finish line. So, what's the most favorite sport in India? Imagine that you are playing that game. Yes. And rather than focusing on complaining, you focus on winning. What is the strategy in winning? If you want to win, what is the strategy? For example, when you play cricket, yes, you go on the court, you go on the field, you play cricket, you look at the competitor and they're all wearing COVID. Yes. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 is gratitude. There's so many things that we need to be thankful for in this time of crisis. And if you're listening to me, that means you're alive, you're healthy, and I assume that your family is also in good condition. Once again, stop complaining about what you don't have. Focus on what you have. And that would be health. That would be you're still enrolled. Yes. You still have a job. The university is still there. What else? We still have access to this. Correct? There's a long list of things that you can be thankful for. And that's my challenge to you tonight. Write this list of things that you need to be thankful for. And all of a sudden, you're focused on this crisis and craziness around us will go away, because what's more important to you are the things that you need to be thankful for. Let's go to number 5. Number 5 is the framing of a hero. Earlier, it was sports. We treat this as a game. Now, for those of you who love watching movies, or for those of you who like reality TV, let me announce this. You are the hero of your own reality TV show. Yes. And it's your name as the star of this reality TV. Everybody's looking at you. That should be the frame of mind. How are you going to prevail over all these challenges? And you know, from start to end of the movie, yes, the hero gets beaten at the start, but gets to succeed in the end. This COVID crisis will not last forever, my dear friends. It will not last forever. It will have to end when there's a cure, when the vaccine is there. We can all go back to some normal. Take a look here of what we are featuring. Hero. Yes, a hero is somebody who saves others, not just saving himself. Here are examples of employees in India volunteering during COVID-19 crisis. Look at this. Instead of getting worried, they do something for the benefit of others. And in the next slide, you can also see a volunteer task force. Yes, you're afraid of the virus, then stay home and protect yourself. But then they're also afraid of the virus, but they have a frame of, I want to help. I want to be a hero for other people. Let's go to number 6. Number 6 is opportunity. The opportunity of doing something which we have not done before. The Chinese write the word crisis using these 2 characters. Let's show the meaning of these 2 characters. One character is danger and the other one is opportunity. only means that whenever there's danger, there's also opportunity. And what are these opportunities? Well, in this COVID crisis, you're stuck at home. You now have a chance to do a lot of things. Maybe repair something in the house. Maybe you can complete your own book or complete the research that you have undertaken before. Or you're focusing on learning new skills, yes. Or we can test family support, a lot of things. Let's go to number 7. Number 7 is about compassion. And I'd like to end with this because when we feel so down and battered by this adversity, but we look around how others are doing, we realize other people have worse problems than us. So it's not so bad after all for us. But we are not comparing. If we feel that we are better off than others, then we are in a position to help. And yes, please do help others. Please do help others find a job during this time. Please do help others with a listening ear. Somebody would need your counsel. Please do help your family members at home with household chores because everybody's now at home and everybody has to do his or her share. Compassion. We need to be kinder as a result of this COVID crisis. Now, let's show Oli the next one. The next slide. Oli, next slide. Where we're showing all of the lessons that I shared in today's session. The definition of adversity, the DUA that has affected us, resiliency, which is at the heart of AQ, and the 3 characteristics of resilient people, plus the 7 ways of framing the crisis. So in the limited time, I'd really like you to strengthen your adversity. And you can all do that. Quickly face and accept reality, make meaning of hardship, improvise solutions, and have the right framing of what's happening around you on a daily basis. I'm pleased to be here in this webinar for the educators and students of Parul University. And yes, we can now go to our Q&A should you have questions for me or some things to clarify. Back to our hosts in Parul University for questions.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, sir, for this wonderful and full of learning session. There are 2 questions, sir, from our end. The first one is, what are the 4 dimensions of adversity quotient to overcome life's challenges?
Sorry, can you repeat that, please? What are the 4?
Yeah. What are the core dimensions of adversity quotient to overcome life's challenges?
Okay. The 4 dimensions of adversity quotient. Okay? And I know that this is consistent with the book of Paul Stoltz, that adversity quotient at work. It is, first one is control. How much control do you have over what happens around you? The second one is ownership. And ownership is, yes, you can control it, you can do something about it, but will you do your share? Will you really own it or blame it on others? You know, a lot of people can get into a blaming game and really point out to several other institutions or even people, especially during a crisis. The third dimension is the dimension of reach. And the fourth one is the dimension of endurance. When you talk about reach, it's being able to specify the impact of the crisis. And the right mindset here is, this is a great crisis that's affecting us, but it will not affect all aspects of my life. it should not disrupt all aspects of my life. It may have disrupted my studies, it may have disrupted my work or my teaching, but maybe your relationships have not been disrupted. Your family is still very supportive. The last one is endurance. And endurance has something to do with time. As I said earlier, this COVID crisis will not last forever. There is an end to this. It's just a prolonged crisis. Will you outlast this COVID crisis? Yes, we need to endure and be at the winning edge. We need to outlast this COVID crisis. Let me recap. Control, is this within our control? The answer to that is not all. Will we own our reactions to this? Yes, we should. In terms of reach, while you're affected economically, or you're affected at work, please make sure that some parts of your life are intact. Compartmentalize your life. Indeed, some parts of our life are still okay. We're doing well in some parts of our life. Endurance. Let's all outlast this COVID crisis.
Okay, sir. And second one is, how can we show leadership in face of adversity?
How can we show leadership? How can we show in times of adversity?
In the face of
Adversity.
Yeah.
Okay. We can talk about two types of leadership. The first leadership is self-leadership. The other one is leading others. I'll answer first leading others. If you are in a position where you are leading others, let's say you are the head of the department and you have your faculty members, reporting to you, or if you're a student, you're a head of an organization, it's important that in times of crisis, we act with sense of urgency. It's important that we also communicate more effectively and at the same time have more empathy, compassion, and communicate caring during crisis. Let me recap that. Sense of urgency, which means we need to decide faster because time is of the essence in crisis. But when we make decisions, we communicate that, we explain why, we explain clearly what people need to do. And yet, we understand it if some people are struggling because they cannot easily cope up or adapt. That's leading others during crisis. I'd like to end with leading yourself. A lot of you don't really lead other people on a formal basis. Self-leadership here is all about listening to your self-talk. I can say that L is listening to your self-talk. Okay? What are you saying? Is it consistent with the 7 ways to frame the crisis? Or are you having negative self-talk? Okay? And letter E is exploring options. Similar to what I said earlier, it's improvising solutions. Okay? And A is acting out the options. Okay? And letter D is determination. That even if you implement some solutions, it may not work initially, it may not give you the benefits at the start, but you will have that determination to pursue your chosen actions. You lead others through crisis, but it's more important that you start leading yourself.
Great. Thank you, sir. We have covered all the questions. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time.
You're very welcome. Once again,
I would like to thank Yes. I would like to thank you, the head of our department, Mr. Hemal Patel, sir, the HI of our institute, Professor Jatin Vaidya, sir, the academic director, Dr. Mahesh Bhatt, sir, and president of our university, Dr. Devanshu Patel, sir, for motivating and supporting us continuously. Last but not the least, I would like to thank you all the participants who are assembled today for this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. More power to Parul University.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Just a quick reminder
Yes,
before
sir.
we go out in our room, please fill out our post-trade evaluation sent on our chat room. Thank you.